Hey gang, your old pal Clay here, once again at Mountain Music Exchange, and today we are going to chat about the all-new Gibson Les Paul Standard Faded 60s. Okay gang, before I get into that, real quick, just want to highlight a comment from our most recent video. That one is going to be on the 30th anniversary Dookie drive from MXR. I definitely think that you should check that video out. That drive is very usable and sounds really good, actually, even outside of the realm of, Green Day fandom. I think it's just a very good drive. User Justin Brown 25 wants to know, but can it doom? Yeah, I think it probably could with the right setup, actually. Even on its own, clean, I think you could probably, the amp clean, I think you could probably find a good space there to make that work. So that is a cool question. Thank you for your comment. Hang out, watch some more with us, chat with us in the comments below, and hey, maybe we'll feature you on here. Who knows, right? And so I think this would be just as good a time as any, right, to go ahead and plug a shameless like and subscribe, please. If you like the content in this video or any of the other videos on the channel, consider giving us a like and a subscribe. We really appreciate everybody who's watched, everybody who's been hanging with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as well as stepping into the store here with us and hanging out. Just let us know what you think in the comments below. Give us a like and a subscribe, and keep hanging with the gang for more MME content. But today we are talking about the Les Paul Standard 60s. This one is the faded model. This is a vintage cherry sunburst. It is sort of the archetype, so to speak, of a Gibson Les Paul, right? With this cherry finish, and there is a lot to like about this guitar, okay? First and foremost, actually, being that the price has dramatically decreased while you still get a little bit more sort of standard-ish features here that kind of blur the line a little bit between this and the current standard line full gloss nitro model, right? So now you've still got the same 60s burst buckers here with the sort of mismatched bobbins here, just like you would in the outgoing version of the faded, but this one does have covers now from the factory. I believe the outgoing version was $24.99. This is actually $22.99 now. And you get a lot of guitar here. Actually, just look at this. I'm not sure right off. Help me out in the comments below. I think I do see a seam line here, but I'm going to get you a close-up of this. Do you even see a seam line here? If so, that's valid, stands to reason. That's a typical Gibson USA sort of hallmark, is you're going to typically get a two-piece, but every now and again, just every so often, you get this magical one-piece back here that sort of blends a little closer to maybe what a custom shop spec might be on this. So I think this is just a good-looking guitar all the way around, front and back. I love the feel of the faded. I don't know if it's something that you can hear in a recording, for example, but it feels more resonant. And I think because of that feel, it does change maybe your perspective, if that makes sense, right? On how the guitar performs for you. If you feel it resonate and you feel it be a little more vibrant in your hands, right, then you're more inclined, I would think, to want to play it more, or play it more confidently, or play it better. And ultimately, that is what will come through either live or in a recording. So we're going to go top to bottom on this. A lot of the features are pretty much right in line with the standard on this. You still get the sort of silver top knobs here that you would get on a 60s standard, and you also get the Grover tuners here as well, which is always a cool touch. I'm a huge fan of Grover tuners. My personal Les Paul has them as well. Not that I'm not a fan of the vintage style, tulip style tuners, but I do like the sort of adjustability to these a little bit with the machine heads that you can do here that I really enjoy. So, one-piece mahogany neck, two-piece mahogany body, possibly one piece. Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I think I see one here, but it is matched up so well it is difficult to tell. And then, of course, two-piece maple top here with a beautiful flame. I think that's probably something in the realm of like what would be graded as maybe a AA flame, right? And of course, 12-inch radius, rosewood fingerboard here, and binding over that, and as well as 1-ply binding all around the rest of the body. And the binding does have the fret nibs that you associate typically with Gibson USA or Gibson guitars in general. And basically that just means that the frets are put on before the binding. So then the binding comes up and over the frets. You don't feel any fret sprout. Everything is very smooth and very quick on this. You get a C-shape neck here. It is rounded, but it is that 60s profile, so it's much slimmer. Probably think something in the realm of, if you haven't played a 60s neck Les Paul by now, by the time you've got to this video, right? Think of something in the realm of like an SG, an early SG with that very thin neck, very, very usable neck here. And I just love that you can get your hand all the way around it, pretty much all the way up the register until you get to the body. You also get the flared strap buttons here, which are the design and the material is very close to what you would associate with a vintage Gibson or a vintage style Gibson strap button, but it is flared out much more here than your standard button. What I like about these is, especially on a Les Paul, in this position, right? Your strap is at an angle, and potentially a very dangerous angle. So you really, if you don't want to modify your guitar with strap locks or anything like that, you have a much better chance of keeping the strap on here. You do get an amber switch tip, which I love just as a touch here. This sort of gives it a little more vintage vibe. Kind of start to associate the fade with an older sort of vintage Gibson that's sort of lost a little bit of its visual luster, right? But it plays and feels really well. One thing I forgot to mention about the neck here also is that the fingerboard edges are rolled all the way up the register here. And these are hand rolled, by the way. I have actually seen this process done, and it really, really adds subtly to the playability. It's one of those things you don't notice immediately, but once you notice it, you can't unnotice it, if that makes sense, right? But it gives it this sort of played vibe, this played feel that really adds to the experience of playing a Gibson guitar in general. 60s burst buckers here, I know I mentioned that earlier. You do get the mismatched bobbins here, but an Alnico 5 magnet, so your attack is going to be a little sharper. Your highs are going to be a little more clear, and it may be a little more fun to solo or something, add a little bit extra gain or distortion to a pickup with an Alnico 5 magnet as opposed to one with an Alnico 2. You also get an ABR1 style bridge here, which I say style here, but I'll show you a close-up as to why I say that. There are still bushings that are down in the body, and then the posts go into those bushings rather than directly mounted into the wood itself. I think, to me, that is what really makes an ABR1 an ABR1, right? And of course, standard tailpiece here. And on this particular one, again, this is straight out of the box. This is pretty much slammed. The brake angle looks really good here. And the action, of course, is low and smooth. And every Gibson that I've pulled out of the box so far here at Mountain Music Exchange has literally come out of the box just immediately playable, which I think is pretty neat. There is a little bit of attention to detail there that goes into that aspect of it. Not all sort of mass-produced guitars get that level of attention, but it looks like these Gibsons that we've received so far have. And I know I'm going back up to the top, but I have to mention this is a Tusk nut here as well. So it is graphite. It is self-lubricating. You will not have to worry about trying to put pencil lead in the nut slots to get the strings to pass through. And this will definitely help your tuning stability, especially on a Gibson when you're bending those Gs pretty high, right? You get matched potentiometers here, which I think is really cool, right? These are actually sort of, they match these all based on their own resistance, which I think is great. That there is, and again, another attention to detail that's put into that. And you also get orange drop capacitors here as well. And it wouldn't be a vintage style Gibson without the thumb bleeders, which are right there. And I think that's just a cool touch to let you know where you're at all times, right to the number. So it looks cool. It feels good, but how does it sound? How does it play? We're gonna test that out right now, actually. We're gonna run through a Line 6 Helix. I'm gonna run through a clean amp, and then I'm gonna also run through an amp with some gain. I'm actually probably gonna use the Brit 2203 for Marshall tones. We're gonna use an Offender Deluxe style amp model in the Line 6 Helix for the cleans on this one. And we're gonna give this thing a run for its money, take it through its paces, see what the dynamic is, see how it feels and sounds, and see if that's as good as it looks. So, without further ado, gang, let's rock. All right, gang, this guitar right here is the Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s Faded, and it played pretty much exactly how I thought it might. It played great. I thought, at least from my monitor and my setup here, that it sounded really good. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the look, the feel, the sound. Do you have an older faded model or even a newer faded model that you like, or tell me what you do like about it. Tell me what you don't like about any of the content that we've put out so far. This video, I know one of them is going to be that I talk too much, but I really just love the aesthetic of a guitar and how it feels, and I like trying to describe that as best as possible. So I hope you will forgive me. Gang, that's going to have us on this one. Be sure to check us out online at mountainmusicexchange.com. Check out Haas on TikTok and here on the channel with the shorts. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, I'm Clay. You rock. And hey, gang, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make it last. See you.